When you've met other people who have been addicted to gambling, have they had that almost romantic experience that you had in the early days when you first started?
I think every gambler, without being specific, probably gets sucked into that I can make money out of nothing, talks about that buzz. But you never met a poor bookie. You never, ever... You go to casinos nowadays, there's cash machines. This was 20 years ago for me, you know, and I still have a punt. I say in the book, right? Yeah. But then I should have listened to the old man years ago who said that when you gamble, you start with an amount of money, and when it's gone, it's gone. But you go back, and you go back to the cash pot, and you go back, and then you start chasing, and you start getting panicky. And I remember sitting there for like 3 hours, you know, every race of every meeting. You know, at one point, I'd have taken odds on whether it was going to snow in Trafalgar Square, you know. Ridiculous, but true.
And you talk about somebody who knew when to stop, who knew, I've made enough money, I don't need a mortgage.
I think that's a really powerful thing, if you can do that. But I don't quite... There's no sort of way that you can say to somebody, this is how to stop. The light came on for me. There are plenty of people that will gamble forever. I know... I've seen people on the show who will put 150 quid into a fruit machine and the jackpot's £25. Doesn't make any sense, does it?
No rationality.
And so is it that rush? Is it that, you know... But yeah, it was something that got me, if you like. But then I think that you could go around anywhere and people would talk about at some point they've drunk too much or gambled too much, or, you know, somebody gave me a statistic the other day. I can't actually quote it specifically for a year, but it was something like a typical British person last year spent £3.60 on gambling in a month and £2.58 on fruit.
Do you think because there is that acceptable form of gambling, like playing the National Lottery, playing bingo, that perhaps gambling isn't taken as seriously as alcoholism or drug addiction?
I think it's like anything. I think it can suck you in. I think, you know, an alcoholic would say he started drinking socially. A drug addict would say he started taking, or she started taking drugs, you know, recreationally. But I think that things can... I think what we do is I think we turn to things when times are hard, or we want answers, and we go to the bookies because we want to forget about this, or we have a drink because we want to forget about that.
But do you think it's under the radar more than alcoholism and drug addiction?
Probably. But from my point of view, it was just something I dealt with, and I came out the other side. And I don't, when I'm talking to people with gambling addictions, or who have gambled, I don't feel any stronger to talk about it. I don't ever say, I know, because I don't know the answers. All I can do is give my opinion, and people will take it or leave it. That's it, you know.
And much of the book, in your opinion, is that people need to take personal responsibility.
I think so.
When it comes to gambling addiction, is it up to the individual, or do you think maybe bookies should help to fund?
Well, you know, there's Gamblers Anonymous, isn't there? You talk about Alcoholics Anonymous and standing up and putting your hands in the air. There's Gamblers Anonymous. There are plenty of support groups and helplines and networks that you can go to, and you can go online. Sometimes you need somebody to have that word. Maybe you can watch a show like ours, not come on it and see somebody and buy into something like that. But I'm a bit of a weird person, because I think that there's an answer to every problem. My old man gave me a mantra once, which was, there's an answer to every problem. The bigger the problem, the longer it takes to find an answer. It's just surprises I don't like. That's what he always used to say to me. It's true. If you want to change, you will find something. But you've got to want to do it. Nobody can foist it, can you?
So off the back of that, what would your advice be to somebody who can't keep out of the bookies every day and who really
Get help.
thinks...
Get help. You know, trawl the internet, go to Yellow Pages, go to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting, try and get help, because it will suck you in. You know, the fact is, there are professional gamblers. They're not two a penny, you know. But most people would not win. They don't win. And, you know, there are some people... 30 million people bet on the Grand National every year, you know. But for a lot of people, it becomes everything. Others can control it. So there's no point in saying with a sweeping generalisation, everybody who gambles should give up. They shouldn't. It's up to them. If they can control it, do what you want. Take responsibility for your own life. But if it is causing you problems, then try and get help.
Did it get to the point... We spoke to somebody yesterday who's lost everything through gambling, his family, his home. Did you ever do something that you're ashamed of in order to get the money?
I got 12 grand into debt. And you know, I got myself into a position where I owed more than I'd got, so that was embarrassing, and that was a wake-up call, and that wake-up call was good, because I've heard too many stories of people that don't get the wake-up call, and like you said, end up penniless and destitute. But
you open about it with your nearest and dearest.
You hide it, don't you? Of course you do, because of whether it's shame. I don't know if it's shame or you're conning yourself. I think you're conning yourself. I can win. I'll go back, I can win. That's the thing. That's the one addiction. You lose yourself on drugs, don't you? You lose yourself on alcohol. You're 500 quid down gambling. If I have that word, if I have another winner, I can clear all that.
You say that you have a flutter now and again now.
Sure.
Do you think you could ever descend into where you...
No, not at all, because horse racing is an interest of mine. But no, because I think it's perspective as well. I've got 4 kids, and after all this finishes every week, or when it finally finishes, going home and being jumped on at 6 o'clock in the morning by a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old who don't give a damn what their dad does and don't care that he's only had 4 hours sleep in a month, that's actually what it's all about, if I'm honest.